All right, and welcome to the 123. It's been a long time since we've done anything, and today I'm going to discuss the Game Changer Wrestling's. Sorry, it's been a minute. Game Changer Wrestling's Fight Forever. And that was last weekend, and I covered it as much as I could, and hopefully get a little bit of explanation on some of those matches, and especially the really good one that I think that everybody should definitely check out. I am going to be or also we've got we're gonna look at the Royal Rumble and of course the beach break that just happened Wednesday. And of course, before we get too far along, as we always do, we are going to we're going to talk about the Wrestler of the Week. And I'm just going to pull that up real quick. And this is how we always do it. And this is one that is a contention for a while. So yeah. All right. Jamie White, born the 9th of October, 1992, better known by the ring name Jay White, is a New Zealand Dutch professional wrestler signed to New Japan Pro Wrestling. After starting his career in 2013, White joined New Japan the following year as a young lion. In June of 2016, White left for an overseas expedition during which he worked for the American Ring of Honor and the British Revolution Pro Wrestling promotions through New Japan's international partnerships. White eventually returned to New Japan in November of 2017 and won the IWGP United States Championship the following January. Later in 2018, he betrayed his fellow Chaos stablemates to join Bullet Club, eventually becoming the group's fifth leader. White is also former IWGP Heavyweight Champion and IWGP Intercontinental Champion. Early career, White initially trained under the UK Kid at Varsity Pro Wrestling in early of 2013 and made his professional debut on the 19th of February, working on VPW as well as All-Star Wrestling, among other promotions. In early 2014, White met New Japan Pro Wrestling's Prince Devitt and competed alongside him in a tag team match for VPW. After the match, Devitt gave White his card and told him to keep in touch. Now, as everybody knows, Prince Devitt is also known in WWE as Finn Balor. So, shortly thereafter, White was contacted by Bad Luck Fale, who said that Devitt had spoken to New Japan officials about White and that he could get him a place as a young lion in the dojo if he wanted it. Several months later, White met with Fale, Devitt, and Shinsuke Nakamura in London, where White accepted their offer to begin finalizing his visa and leave for New Japan Dojo. New Japan for 2015 to 2016. White left for Japan on New Year's Eve in 2014, began further training as a young lion upon his arrival, and made his debut for New Japan on the 30th of January 2015, losing to Alex Shelley. White lost all but 8 of his matches in 2015, as is common for young lions in New Japan. In 2016, White began gaining more victories, and on the 27th of March competed in his biggest match to date when he was defeated by then reigning IWGP Intercontinental Champion Kenny Omega in a non-title match. White's final match in New Japan took place on the 19th of June 2016 at Dominion 6-19 in Osaka Joe Hall when he, David Finlay, and Juice Robinson were defeated by Satoshi Kojomi, Hiroshi Tenzan, and Manabu Nakasashi. White left for his excursion to the United States the following week. Upon moving to the United States, White was the first based in New Jersey before moving to Detroit, where he lived with Alex Shelley. White debuted in Ring of Honor at the 25th June TV tapings, defeating Kamitachi by disqualification. In Revolution Pro Wrestling 2016 to 2017, White debuted for England's Revolution Pro Wrestling on the 12th of August 2016, defeating Josh Bottom. He returned in the 26th of August, defeating Mark Haskins. White competed once again for RPW on the 21st of January 2017, defeating Martin Stone. Now, his return to New Japan. On the 5th of November 2015, at Power Struggle, White returned to New Japan as the Mysterious Switchblade. He had been tested for the past several months, challenging Hiroshi Tanahashi to a match at the IWGP Intercontinental Championship in Wrestle Kingdom 12 in Tokyo Dome before attacking him. The following day, New Japan officially announced the match between Tanahashi and White for Wrestle Kingdom 12. On the 4th of January, White was defeated by Tanahashi in the title match. So far, he is currently the Bullet Club leader. And one of the reasons that I thought that he was a great person to bring up for Wrestler of the Week is because he is a stand-up, is because it's been a long question as to if he is a oh, is there a way to do that? Let me see. Well, oh well. And that's kind of him. As far as, it was brought up maybe he would be going to AEW or WWE, and it's been known that he's probably got a contract for 7 years. So that was the thing that was discussed. Now, try and bear with me. This is the first time that we've done video for the 1, 2, 3, and we haven't done the 1, 2, 3 in it's almost been 2 years. I think it's been a year. No, it's been a year. It's basically, we haven't done it since, or I haven't done it since, well, just to give you a little bit of history, if you don't know about the 1, 2, 3, and I know we don't have anything up right now. The 1, 2, 3 is a wrestling program that was developed at WPMD and was a myself and a co-host, Julio, and Julio had to leave the program, and then I had taken it over. Basically, we did rundowns of kind of what's the result, like we were a results show. I've kind of changed that out. We're talking more about all the different events that have happened throughout the week. And we also had Chasing Down a Dream, or Running Down a Dream, which was basically talking about the independent scene. Now we're kind of I'm mixing it up, and it's just going to be a combination of everything as much as we can. Right now, we're going to have a format of about an hour and be on video. And I'm probably going to get backgrounds and make things a little bit prettier. But right now, I wanted to make sure and get it out. That seemed like that was more important. I'm going to see. I'd like to make it a little prettier. I know my microwave in the background isn't amazing. And also, one thing that was kind of unique is that I could play some music, walk over, and, like, for instance, get a pad. That's what I'm going to do. Like right now, I'm going to actually have to take my headphones off, and I'll be able to talk to you. You'll probably hear me. It'll be a little bit off mic, but not too bad while I go and I get the results, because I want to be able to, go through the results of the show. And the show I'm talking, of course, is the Game Changer Wrestling Fight Forever, because Fight Forever was a really cool event, and all of those proceeds went to help out independent wrestlers. So I wanted to help them out by telling everybody about what happened as much as I can. Some of these, I'll be honest, I have just the results because they weren't necessarily great shakes. They were good. They were okay matches, but as far as like the play-by-play, it would be a little bit more difficult, and it'd be a little bit longer and kind of boring. I mean, usually I agree with Simon Miller, and I follow Simon Miller, and it's really cool on What Culture. And I'll tell you, he has a good way of saying it, that if you want to find out what the match is, unless the match, like, if a match is really good, I don't mind going through it. But if not, I would just suggest you watch it a lot of times. I'm going to go through one of them because it was an amazing match. But so the first match that I saw was Lio Rush, the Black Heart versus Blake Christian, the Full Heart, I want to say. And that was interesting because it was 3 stipulations. I felt kind of like this was, as Jim Cornette would say, putting a hat on a hat a little bit, because there were so many stipulations that it would be kind of confusing. But basically, it was 3 stipulations for 3 falls, which I got to say is very creative, but at the same time might be too much, to the point that if it confuses your announcers, you might be doing too much. Just FYI. Anything goes at first, so basically a falls count or not falls count anywhere, but a no holds barred match, and the winner of that was Lio Rush, and the next one was a Red Door challenge, and that was kind of interesting because during the match, so basically the stipulation was that you had to put your opponent through a red door, which is a kind of a rare stipulation, but they had different colored doors that you could set up. And the first door that they set up was a black door, which then Blake Christian put Lio Rush through. However, the announcers were confused because they figured it would have to be a red door. So, but the referee decided to call it anyway, and so then it was on to the next thing. But before, it's during the coffin match, Lio Rush was still thrown through the red door as well. So I guess that qualification was met. Then there was the coffin challenge, where basically you had to get your opponent into a coffin, and Lio Rush succeeded at getting Blake Christian into the coffin. So the winner on that one was Lio Rush. And then we had Nate versus, I'm trying to remember, is that the one that I think it is? Yeah, that's the one. Nate, who had a butter churn, as he was supposed to be Amish. That was his gimmick. Went against one called Meanders, who's this big cowboy guy, and Meanders called Meanders 1. That was his full name, like a Tribe Called Quest. 1 called Meanders. Then I saw the Rep versus Thick and Juicy. This was a mixed tag team match. It was two girls against two pretty big looking dudes, and I gotta say this was pretty bad. The ladies they did well, but I gotta say it a lot of times didn't look very professional, and sometimes I couldn't tell if the rep were worried about hurting the ladies, non kayfabe, and that was kind of a thing that I was sort of curious about. So I'm not really sure. Then we had I put down originally the Saucy Butcher, which apparently ended up being Atlas Hoodfoot. And this was a brutal match. This was almost on the I don't want to say that it was on the same level as the UK match between the Russian and Walter. So I don't know. I would say that it was still very brutal. There was a lot of slap fighting, a lot of suplexes. It was really a more grappling, punching type match. It was good. It was really good. Then it was Said Sabius. Oh, Said Sabu versus Moriarty versus Cashflow. And I don't know. I must have not been able to watch that match for some reason because I don't have the result on it. Then I came back and there was, and you understand that, so this was all during Friday and Saturday. And during Friday, I did watch a lot of it, which started at 8 o'clock in the evening. So I watched most of that, but I did do this thing called sleep. I try to, I want to make sure and, give everybody an opportunity to, find out about these things. But at the same time, I need to take care of myself and sleep. I know, selfish of me, but it's a thing I do. So also, I went on. Also, I take my treatments, so that was another thing that made it so that understand this was a 24-hour match. I think I got about 9 or 10 hours of it, but I did try and get as much as I could, and I'm trying to relay it. Also, if you can find the clips, you should be able to find them on Fight TV. Or look at Game Changer Wrestling if you would like to see some of these matches. And I really would recommend it. I would also recommend if there's any way that you can throw a couple bones to Game Changer Wrestling to help them out because they're helping out independent wrestling, that'd be awesome. The first time that I saw someone help out independent wrestling was Wrestle Talk with their, their COVID independent wrestling where they basically had, no audience, and they brought in some people like Will Ospreay and just had some really killer matches. I would suggest that you see that too, and also throw Wrestle Talk some shekels as well, because like they are still sending all that money to independent wrestling. So it's a good way to help out. Then I saw Homicide versus FA. Never saw FA before, but man, that was brutal because Homicide was had a fork and was trying to stabbing the head of FA, and it was kind of a hardcore match. Then there was a death match, Madman Pondo versus Cannonball. Feel free to watch that on your own. Dude had a stick, had a saw blade attached to it. There was barbed wire in the ring. Not my cup. Just not my cup. If there's a heavy death match, in other words, a match that is with some of the, of really known talent, I will try and cover it as much as I can. But I I don't really care for it. So I'll be honest, you probably won't get too much of that most of the time. Then I saw Charles Mason versus Ken Broadway. And Ken Broadway was pretty good because this was his second match. So that's a lot of these people were doing double duty in different. So there was different like leagues, and some of those leagues were kind of cross applied, or they were being hosted by Game Changer Wrestling. Then we had Boomer Hatfield versus Rob Killjoy of the Ugly Ducklings, and that was a pretty good match. Not bad. I wouldn't say it was amazing. Then we had Levi Everett versus one called Meanders. Levi might. Now I'm confused. Now I'm wondering if on my notes if Levi was the one that was Amish. I don't know. Check it out. Check it out for yourself. Then we had Rohit Radu versus a very good pro wrestler and a very good pro wrestler 1. I thought that was the lamest, weirdest name. But yeah, he ended up picking it up. Then we have, this is the biggest match I had seen. This was WP. Oh, I see. Yeah. A very good pro wrestler, Travis Huckabee, Don Champion, Killian McMurphy, Blake, CC Boost versus the Best Campers, Boomer Hatfield, Molly McCoy, Apricots and Pears, Erica, Lee, Jay Lyon, Midas Black, Abby, James, and the Boar. And on the other team, it was even. It wasn't like uneven. It was a lot of names. And watched them wrestle for an hour. It was really pretty fun match, except for I really didn't care for when they all decided to put each other in a full Nelson, and then one person like smacked them all and they all fell down. I thought that was kind of silly, kind of goofy, not really needed. But everything else was interesting. It was totally a guys girls mix, and basically it was a weird tag match, because basically what it would do, like one person would tag in, they weren't even tagging in, like someone would leave the ring and then someone else would come in the ring, but it wasn't like a tag in or tag out situation. It was just like as soon as someone left the ring, someone else could come in the ring. So, and it was an interesting match. I don't know. It's hard to follow, but it was something that I saw. Then we had Jared Evans versus Chris Valentine, and the winner was Jared Evans, and that was just a standard match. And then we had the match that I really think you should go and check out. This is a match that I'm really surprised that I haven't heard anything about. If I was AEW, I would sign these guys right now while it's hot and the footage is still there, because it would be amazing to see anything like this on Dark. I don't think you'd see it on Dark, but to even see it on Dynamite, even though you'd have two people that, like, I know some people would be like, well, they're green or whatever, but I think it'd be a great match and it would be a big draw. Obviously you couldn't do it as long, but it would be, I mean, if Iron Man matches aren't your cup, then this might not be your thing. But I really have always enjoyed Iron Man matches because it's really where the rubber meets the road. Some of the best matches that I've ever seen were Iron Man, like Kurt Angle, Chris Benoit, Scott Steiner, Triple H. I can't think of the specific, like who they were competing against, but I think there was a Randy Orton versus Triple H Iron Man match that was really good. And I think the one I'm thinking about, there was a Chris Benoit versus Kurt Angle match that was also really good. And I know, obviously with everything that Chris Benoit, put his family through and all that, I understand that, his controversial character, but at the same time, he had a match, so I'm just mentioning it. But this match, I don't know Jay Oliver's first name. I feel bad about that. I thought it was John, but that I don't want to say it's John Oliver because obviously, entirely a different person, right? And he went up against Tony Deffen, and this was in an Iron Man match, and this was amazing. Chairs were used, and it just kept going. It hit a sudden death at 4-4, and then they basically the champion said that no, he didn't want to walk away with his championship because of a draw. He wanted there to be a clear winner, and so it was determined that they would actually have another hour added on. So it was a 2-hour Iron Man match, and it's really worth it. It's hard to go into all the detail of it. This guy has an amazing cloud cutter. A chair was used. At one point, they were fighting on the top deck of the of wherever their undisclosed location was. I assume it's like Florida and New York because it was a 3-hour time difference, but I'm not sure. And then the last match that I saw was Redbeard versus Homicide. And Redbeard, of course, was just on the Brody Lee special. And Redbeard was really fighting. Redbeard, of course, was Eric Rowan's in the WWE. Is now fighting. He was fighting. I think he had on a Brody Lee shirt and was fighting against Homicide from Impact. He's no longer in Impact, but he was at the time. He might be in AAA. I'm not sure. I'm not really sure where Homicide is right now. But that was those matches, and like I said, I really think that if you have the opportunity, you should check it out. And I definitely think it's worth your time. Now let's talk about the Royal Rumble. All right, so the Royal Rumble started out with a fight between Asuka and Charlotte Flair versus Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax, and it was interesting in that basically there was a distraction finish. And there's been a lot of distraction finishes lately. WWE, you need to tie those down. Sometimes I think a distraction finish is good if you do it every once in a while. But now it's like basically they decided they couldn't do as many roll-ups. So now they're going to do distraction finishes. And I thought that was a pretty poor decision. And I think right now they're really making Asuka look weak. And I'm not liking that. And they're really making... they're making a big focal point out of, Ric Flair and I can't even think of her name. The woman's right. I hate that when I can't think of someone's name. That's why I kind of tend to have notes, but I can't. Anyway, it's a person that she's going to end up going. That it looks like maybe Charlotte could be facing off for WrestleMania, but it's really Asuka is the champion, and it's just a bad look. Like her holding both belts, it does kind of diminish the championship, but at the same time, I think Lacey Evans coming out every 5 minutes and being a distraction is kind of weird. And also like what they're doing with Asuka and Alexa Bliss is not exactly amazing. So then after that, we had the fight between as our opener. We had Drew McIntyre versus Goldberg. Goldberg clearly getting confused because he thought that Drew McIntyre was being disrespectful when clearly throughout that episode it was Randy Orton. Randy Orton was the one that, made Mark Henry wheel off in his little cart when he said pretty much you're worthless. So I think that Randy Orton was the one that was being all disrespectful. So it was really very bizarre that it ended up being Drew McIntyre, but it was a good fight. A lot of it started off on the out of the ring. Goldberg threw Goldberg or Drew McIntyre. I know they both ended up careening into the outside several times, and then as I believe Drew McIntyre was thrown into a stair, that's when the match started. After that, it was basically just jackhammer spears versus man, I want to say brogue kick, and I know that's not right because that's Sheamus's move. Well, that's annoying. I can't think of his Drew McIntyre's move, obviously, and that was good because we had a clear winner in Drew McIntyre, and that's good. So that gives Drew McIntyre a nice win under his belt, and he looks good defending against I'm sorry guys, I was checking my monkey tail. I haven't shaved it in a minute, and so yeah, I think it's pretty much gone now. And monkey tail's a little weird, but what it does is it starts off at your mustache and goes all the way around to your but a lot of my facial hair right here is kind of, I think, come into a point where it's kind of hard to tell that it's a monkey tail and it just looks like a normal beard. Not that that's that important to you. I'm sure. Feel free in the comments below to say, we don't care about your monkey tail or your shaving. Just get to the wrestling. All right. So anyway, then after that, we had the women's battle royale. I think that's right. Yeah, we had the women's battle royale. That was really good. We had one of the things that I thought was hilarious was when Alexa Bliss came in and was getting ready to do her magic mojo. As Rhea Ripley was in there, she just tossed her out because she wasn't having it. And like the lights were flashing and everything. It was great. I loved it because it was like, no, you're not burninating all of us or whatever craziness you're intending to do. That's not happening. You're just going to get tossed out of the ring and leave. Bye-bye. It was really cool. I like that. I like The Fiend, but I've just been getting the fire and some of the stuff that they've been doing lately has been getting goofier and goofier. And it's been kind of, not exactly the best thing in the world to see. So I wasn't really too enamored with it. Then, of course, at the end, there was a lot of good eliminations. You should definitely check it out. Then you had the three that, of course, were the most favored to be in that match, which was Charlotte Flair, Rhea Ripley, and Bianca Belair. Then Rhea and Bianca decided to team up and eliminate Charlotte, and so It was at that point there was much rejoicing because you knew that you were going to have a brand new champion, something that hadn't been done before, something fresh, and an up-and-comer was definitely going to be the winner of that Royale. So that was really of the Royal Rumble women's match. And so what happened is after trading slugs, Bianca Belair was able to finally eliminate Rhea Ripley. And so our new challenger for whatever belt she chooses is going to be Bianca Belair. So it's going to be the EST is in full effect. And that was pretty cool to see. Then we had the fight between Kevin Owens and the tribal chief Roman Reigns. And that was all over the place. That was a really good match. There was a lot of cool things. There was a lot for Last Man Standing. Kevin Owens does this great jump off of a forklift onto Roman Reigns. And then he uses cuffs to lock Roman Reigns onto a piece of furniture. I think the sound equipment, and he's trying to get off of it. Paul finally helps him, and Roman Reigns then does his new submission finisher. And when he does his new submission finisher, he chokes out Kevin Owens for the win. And so the still champion is Roman Reigns. And one thing that Jim was saying about the keys and Paul is that he should probably work on getting cuffs off, because it took a while. It was kind of funny. It took a bit of some time. Then we had the men's Royal Rumble, which was great. We had at number 1, we had Edge, and number 2, Randy Orton. So of course they kept going with their feud. Also before Randy Orton came out, there was Alexa Bliss. Oh no, that was Raw. That was Raw. Never mind. So it was a pretty good fight. A couple surprise entrances. We had Carlito that was promised from Raw, who showed up. That was cool. And Christian returned. That was awesome. And it wasn't just the Christian of I'm a producer backstage and I really don't want no trouble, but he was a fully fighting Christian, and it was nice because Edge and Christian reunited, and there was a funny point where Riddle tried to befriend the two of them, and they weren't having it, and they eliminated him. So that was kind of cool. Then there was at the end, you had Daniel Bryan, Seth Rollins, and Edge. After they first, Braun Strowman was trying to eliminate Edge and was holding on to Christian, and Christian kind of it felt like he sacrificed himself to get rid of Braun Strowman, which I have to watch it back, but I kind of felt like that's what that was. But you could check that out yourself. Then we had Braun, and then we had those three fighting, and then Seth Rollins returned. I guess that would be a return, another one. But it was just for the Royal Rumble because he did not appear on Raw. Then we had a really good match. After two eliminations, Edge was the only one in the ring. Although Randy Orton had not been eliminated, he had left the ring. They keep doing this, and I'm not sure if I like this. The hidden guy that nobody expects. It's kind of interesting, but at the same time, it's a little bit. It's getting to be a little drawn out, I think. Anyway, so your winner was Edge, and that was the Royal Rumble. It was really cool. Now, to talk about AEW, and I'm a big fan of AEW. I'm a big fan. I'm a big wrestling fan. If it's good, I like it. If it's not, it's not. I watch a lot of Dark, and I think I'll probably be going through some Dark matches in the future, because I think that some of these matches are really good, and it would be worth your time to take a look at them. And it's worth my time to give Dark some time that people can find out about it and they can check it out. A lot of times, AEW makes the mistake of debuting people on Dynamite and not showing some of the things they've done on Dark. So if you're a real avid follower of Dark, you're like, yeah, cool. And then everybody's like, oh, this guy is like, who cares about this guy? I mean, this guy's a ham and egger. It's like, well, yeah, but like on Dark, he got 27 wins to 1, and then he went on the main show, and you're like all invested, and then everybody isn't. So they really need to start showing video packages on Dynamite. Tony Khan, if you're listening to me, show some packages, some Dark packages on Dynamite. Show like what these guys can do, because it really does them a disservice to just, bring them in on the main roster, and then people haven't had the opportunity to see some of the things that they could do. And I'm gonna get into that, trust me, because like Bear Country showing up was a thing, and Bear Country is it's a great little tag team. But if you didn't know about it, you'd be like, who are those jabronis, for lack of better words? All right, so now one thing I need to paraphrase or need to let people know of, and I'm working on, actually, you know what? I may do this today. I'm going to see if I can do this today. I have time. I'm going to see if I can get my cable back, but I actually have cable, but my cable the box doesn't work, and so I am not able to watch Dynamite. I actually have to catch it as highlights. Same thing with Raw, and same thing as with SmackDown. Unfortunately, I don't have my cable box won't show USA, and it won't show TNT. Just kind of annoying. Another thing I find annoying while I'm talking about this is, if you're watching this, there's a good chance you probably do live in Pacific time out here in California. We get a lot of great bonuses being in California, but the one thing we don't get is that all of these shows are back east, and because they're back east, it seems like spoilers tend to come a lot quicker to us, because people are like, well, the show aired 3 hours ago, so it's okay for us to tell you what happened. And it's not so cool. In fact, I'd like to disable the WWE app, because it always will come up and say, such and such is the winner. And it's like, okay, it's like 7:00 in the afternoon, and I haven't seen the show yet. So that's kind of frustrating. Anyway, on to AEW, and it's going to be a pretty quick little run here. But so first we had the over-the-top battle royale with the different tag teams, and that was really cool. So the rules were, and they never, okay, so this is another pet peeve I have at AEW. They never explained the rules of the tournament. so I had to determine the information myself, which was that each person was in the battle royale, and a tag team had to be a complete tag, or a tag team in order to be considered a win had to just be one person in the royale. So as long as one of your tag team partners won, then that meant that your tag team won the royale, which I wish they would have explained, but they didn't really do that, and I think that could have been done better. But in the battle royale, there was Sammy Hagar with an announcement from Sammy Hagar, which is kind of interesting, and he's getting long in the tooth too. But anyway, and then we had Jericho and MJF. We had Top Flight, the Young Bucks, Dark Order, Silvers and Reynolds, Dark Order, Evil Uno, and Stu Grayson, and the Acclaimed, Max Caster, and I can't think of his last name. Of course, I didn't give you the Top Flight members, but still, the Acclaimed. So that was a really good fight. I was kind of curious. So they explained why FTR wasn't in it, and I think that they were robbed. Oh, and Jurassic Express. I almost forgot about Jurassic Express. And Jurassic Express was represented by Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus. And I was surprised that they didn't have SCU. They explained why FTR, which I thought that they got robbed because they were told that they couldn't, because they attacked some people after the fight and cut Luchasaurus's mask, which I thought was kind of sophomoric compared to FTR's standard style of wrestling. I don't really like how they're using FTR. I don't know where they're going with it. I think it's really, anyway, we'll get into FTR more. So that fight was, I can't really do the play-by-play because of time. But the most important thing is Top Flight was hanging on the edge. And also there's going to be an issue with the Inner Circle because Jericho accidentally or on purpose eliminated the sex god Sammy Guevara, and then at the end, Private Party was also in it. Forgot about Private Party. This was a big CF, if you know what I mean. But so it's hard to keep track, but I actually did keep track of all the wrestlers. It was pretty much everybody. Oh, there's another one that they didn't have. They did not have the Lucha Brothers. Oh, and of course they had Santina and Ortiz, or Proud and Powerful. Almost forgot about them. So anyway, Jared eliminated the Top Flight with a Judas effect. And so it was MJF and Jericho will go on to face the Young Bucks Revolution. Then we had a I think we had a women's match between Thunder Rosa and Dr. Britt Baker. And I'm hoping my order isn't wrong. I'm just trying to remember. And we have some time constraints. We're almost at the hour here. So Dr. Britt Baker versus Thunder Rosa. A little bit of foul play. Reba got in Rebel got in and tore off the turnbuckle pad, which distracted the ref so that Britt could knock out Thunder Rosa for the win. Or no, there's another thing that was done. But basically, it was through some dirty tricks that Britt Baker got the win against Thunder Rosa. Then we had Lance Archer versus Eddie Kingston. The Lumberjacks were really strange in this match. They were just kind of out for themselves, and it wasn't like they were doing the standard Lumberjacks. And it was a lot of Lumberjacks that people wouldn't know unless, like I said, they were followed dark. For instance, Bear Country, who were going in and trying to defend people, and it got a little bit muddled. And the winner was, wow, that's bad. I don't remember the winner. I felt like the match was really, like, as solid as the match between Eddie Kingston and Lance Archer was last week. This week, I feel it was like so muddled, and I really don't remember who won because it was just all over the place. Then eventually we had the wedding, and this was supposed to be straight, except for we had I can't think of his name, but we had the manager of Rosemarie, James Mitchell, conducting the ceremony, and Miro was there. He got concerned about a giant box that he was pretty sure would be, a hidden wrestler, because he didn't want the wedding to get messed up. But then, of course, it ended up being Chucky T took advantage and smacked Penelope Ford's intended with a silver tray, and then Orange Cassidy jumped out of the kick. Kip Sabian, yes, attacked Kip Sabian, and the fight was on, and the wedding was ruined, but I think they both got married, and I think that they actually did get married, but it was a big, silly mess, and it was pretty good. It advanced some storylines, and that was cool. Then we had the main event. I think, yes, we had the main event, which was Jon Moxley, Ray Phoenix, and Pac versus the Good Brothers and Kenny Omega. This was a really good match. I felt like they buried Phoenix too much. Like, he really was good. Like, he had a lot of good moves. Hard to say though, because match. If I could get a good copy of it, I would appreciate it, because a lot of times when they make these highlights, they go with like the most importance, and like that's what they think is more important, but that's not necessarily what I think is more important. And so they cut that, and they and I don't really know how that went. So I think that that's going to be an interesting thing to find out. The Good Brothers just did a lot of damage, and were able to pin Ray Phoenix. But it's definitely a good match to see. I definitely want to see the whole match. I think it's probably going to be one of those match of the years, because you have so many good people. I mean, it's pretty amazing when you look at it. And honestly, of that group, that, probably Jon Moxley and I don't know, like, I think both the Good Brothers are really good. and they're really seasoned. So I mean, I don't know. I definitely I feel like Jon Moxley would be like the worst wrestler in that match. I think Jon Moxley in the ring, like he doesn't really impress me. Like his promos are good, his attitude is good. And when he does some of those death matches, it's scary. But as far as like, and so it makes him a really good mid carder. But I just, as the champion, and I know he's not the champion anymore, he's just not as viable to me. And I remember I used to watch him in the before, you know, when he was, I can't think of his pseudonym in WWE right now. When he fought CM Punk, I just was never really too impressed. And, you know, I'm sure that CM Punk was trying to carry the match as much as possible. So I don't know. I feel like Moxley could be, you know, a better wrestler. Now, mind you, I'm saying that, and like, I don't want someone like Jon Moxley to say, hey, you're saying you should be a better wrestler, so how are you at wrestling? Terrible. I'm on dialysis, and you know, not exactly physically fit anymore, and wasn't before, to be honest. So I just want to let any wrestler know that if I'm saying I just wasn't too impressed or this was a thing, I don't want any beef with any wrestlers. I'll just be like, I'll be cool right now and say you win. I'll just be like Simon Miller is, and be like, hey, you know, you have the head of the table. Please don't kill me. Whatever. It was a great match. Dean Ambrose, yeah, as Dean Ambrose, I wasn't impressed. But then he was like a lot greener then too. But I don't know. It's just like I think that you have all these high flyers, you have all this movement, and then you put him. I mean, he might be a really solid wrestler with someone like Dax Harwood. And actually, that'd be a really good match. I think I'd watch that. Dax Harwood versus Jon Moxley, and really see, you know, where the rubber meets the road, where it's just like a wrestling match instead of all this hardcore stuff. I think the AEW has a problem with that because, like, when you look at it, like you have Darby Allin who will do something like, you know, jump a skateboard off of a ladder, and it's just like, why? Why did you do that? How is that wrestling? How is that safe? How is that a good idea? And I think that some of that is crazy. It's like, but, you know, some people like the hardcore, and I like watching some hardcore, and, you know, just for the holy, you know, crap effect of it. But, you know, honestly, I just don't know. Oh, I buried the lead. And at the very end of that match, we had Lance Archer show up and kind of take issue with I don't know who his beef was with Pac or someone like that. Anyway, he cleared out the ring, and then as Moxley was about ready to jump Kenny Omega, a masked man in a hoodie showed up, revealed himself to be Kenta, and put Kenny Omega in a go to sleep. And we now know that we have a match this Wednesday, a lights out match. So I don't know if that means it's going to be bloody, but if it is going to be bloody, then it's going to be covered because it's Kenta and Omega versus Moxley and Lance Archer. I don't know if that's right. Tune back to where we are on YouTube, and we'll try and have that information. And thanks for tuning in to the 123. I'm Frank, and this has been the 123. And hey, stay safe, everybody.